And welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Justina, and in today's video I'm going to discuss the energies of the upcoming full moon happening between the August 11th and August the 12th at 19 degrees of Aquarius. So here this full moon will be exact at 6:35 p.m. Pacific time on August the 11th and 1:35 a.m. Greenwich time on August the 12th. Right, so here a full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are in opposition in the opposing signs and the moon becomes fully illuminated. So anything that was unclear might become much clearer at this time, depending on where this full moon will fall in your chart. So here 19 degrees of Aquarius. So if you have any planets at 19 degrees of Aquarius or one of the fixed signs, and this would be Leo, Aquarius, of course, Taurus or Scorpio, you will be under a greater influence of this full moon. Now here Aquarius is a fixed sign. Usually during a moon phase in a fixed sign, we tend to become more stubborn and more resistant to change. Now Aquarius is related to matters concerning humanitarian activities, social clubs, political groups, and here with the Aquarian energy, the focus is on the collective rather than individual needs, because that would be more Leo energy, Leo new moon that we had a couple of weeks ago. Here with the Aquarian energy, this is more about the justice and the good of all. All right, so here we've got quite interesting energies happening at this time. This full moon, usually a full moon is really intense, and this will be also. But here we've got quite challenging energies happening at this time. We've got a conjunction with Saturn. So here Saturn is retrograde. With Saturn, the Lord of Time, the Lord of Karma, there's often energies that create a sense of restrictions or limitations, delays. Now, there could be delays happening at this time. Things coming back from the past as well, because Saturn is retrograde, tightly conjunct this full moon. So here Saturn, the traditional ruler of this full moon, is conjunct this full moon, and the modern ruler Uranus is squaring this full moon. Now Saturn and Uranus won't be in an exact square this year, but they will be within 1 degree orb, especially between September and November. So we might see some themes from 2021 coming back into our lives, and this could be related to any political matters, any global related matters, as well as anything connected to our personal lives, depending where this square is happening in your life. So this is about anything connected to, well, Saturn is about the tradition, law, regulation, structure, and Uranus is about the modern, and Uranus wants to break away from anything that isn't working anymore. So here with Saturn and Uranus square, we might have to find a common ground and resolution, because otherwise we won't be able to move forward. Here these energies will clash, the old and the new, as we move forward into the new world that has already begun with Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, and of course Pluto and Saturn conjunction in 2020. All right, so here we've got this challenging energy. So here with Saturn is about, well, I think the theme of this full moon is to proceed with caution. Saturn doesn't like to take any shortcuts, so this is a time to really think carefully about every step that you take, every step that you consider here, or any decisions that you want to make. Be cautious and think twice, because here Saturn is retrograde, so you might have to redo some things, and you might experience some delays, things taking longer, but at the same time, Saturn doesn't like shortcuts. Saturn doesn't like cheating. Here, this is about being consistent, being responsible, and reliable as well. So here with determination, there is a chance, a good chance to get through to the end of any projects, any ideas at this time. Now here, especially since Aquarius is a fixed sign, and fixed energy helps to get through to the end. It might be difficult to start something off the ground, especially with so many retrogrades at this time. However, once you begin, you will get through to the end with so much fixed energy in the air. So here, just to summarize, Saturn and Uranus square could be about some sudden developments of situations, events, circumstances that could lead to us having to make some important decisions that will have a long-term effect on our lives, or perhaps that would take on some new long-term responsibilities. So here, with Saturn being so prominent here at the time of this full moon, it's really essential to be cautious and proceed with caution and think twice before making any important decision. So here, let's look at this full moon and see how it will influence your sign. So here, this is most accurate for the rising sign. However, you can also watch this for your moon sign, your sun sign as well, if you wish, if you want to get a wider picture. And I will base this analysis on the whole sign system as always. So here, tropical, zodiac, and Western astrology. So let's begin. Hello Aries, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon activates your 11th house. So here, group activities, social events, your goals, your objectives for the future are emphasized at this time. Now, with Saturn being in such close proximity to this full moon, the energies of this full moon are rather serious. So it's likely to be a serious time. You might be attending a serious social event of some sort a week before or after this full moon on a different level. This could be related to a friend. So here, a friend might reach out and need your help, need your support in some way. Perhaps this could be connected to some financial help, since Uranus is squaring Saturn and this full moon. So perhaps unexpectedly, someone might ask you for some financial help. Or alternatively, this could be related to some acquaintances or people from some groups that you belong to that will need some help in an emotional sense. So perhaps you might really draw towards you people who need someone to listen to them. Here, the moon in the 11th house. This is about you being emotionally involved in your social circle. This might be also related to, you might be also either leaving a group or a club that was perhaps related to a humanitarian activity, or perhaps people with common interests. So you might be either leaving a group, or perhaps you might become a leader of some kind of group, social club of some sort. You might be working with others towards a common goal. Now, with this full moon also, if you are going to be setting some new goals for yourself, you are going to take a very serious approach and you will proceed with caution. Now, since this moon, any moon, full moon is always related to your home life. There could be also activities happening at your home here. And this could be related to renovations. This could be related also to a parental figure. Perhaps, either your father, because Saturn represents an older person, a father, or perhaps even your mother, because the moon is related to the mother figure. So perhaps one of the parents might also need your help, need your support at this time. You might be working together as well at this time. All right, so the good news is that on the 14th, a couple of days after this full moon, Mars and Pluto will align in a trine. So here, there could be some positive news coming from your career sphere, professional life. So that could be interesting. Mars will be still in your sphere of income and finances, so hopefully some good news. So that's the 14th. All right, so on this note, I wish you a pleasant full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Thank you very much. Hello Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. So here, this full moon activates your 10th house of public image, of your outside world, but also your career life, your professional life path. So here with a full moon, this is often connected to some endings, some changes. And here with Saturn retrograde being so close to this full moon, Well, this could be related to perhaps some undergoing changes at your work and at your organization, for example, or perhaps changes concerning your management, the management at your company, for instance. But here you might be moving to a different position, to a new position. Now, if this is the case, here with Saturn conjunct this full moon, you will have to put more effort, you will have to put more work. This could be connected to increased responsibilities as well. Now, here on the other hand, you might be also ending some chapter at your work connected to your career, for instance. Now, Uranus and, Uranus will square both Saturn and this full moon. So here there could be some sudden unexpected changes happening out of the blue. And this could be related to a situation that is pretty much out of your control. So this could also prompt you to change your career direction, or perhaps generally implement some changes at your work. Now, on a different level, Uranus will also square the Sun. So perhaps the changes that occur at your work will impact your home life. So perhaps increased responsibilities might mean that you won't be as available at your home for your family. Or perhaps if this is related to a new position in a different town and a different country, then this could also impact your home life because you will have to relocate. So at the same time, you might have to deal with some important decisions at this time, but obviously proceed with caution. This is not a good time for making any major or drastic decisions here. Mars will trine Pluto on the 14th, so a couple of days after this full moon. So there could be some opportunities that come through, through some people who come from foreign places, foreign countries, or perhaps if you work for an international organization, that you might be also recognized in some way for your hard efforts. Alright, so generally here the full moon illuminates your career life, so nothing can be hidden in your outside world, in your public life during this time, but overall your feelings and emotions will be connected to your career life, and you'll be thinking about how you can kind of either improve your career stand, or alternatively you might be going through some changes with that square from Uranus and the conjunction with Saturn. And on this note, I wish you a pleasant full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Thank you very much. Hello Geminis, and so welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon activates your 9th house. The 9th house deals with matters related to, anything that's foreign, anything connected to immigration, legal activities, anything related to higher education. So here there is a full illumination. Now with the 9th house, there is often a need, with the 9th house activation, there is often a need for adventure, for spontaneity, for freedom and independence. However, with Saturn being so closely aligned with this full moon, you might feel slightly restricted or limited to a certain extent, especially when it comes to your ability to expand your horizons, your wisdom, or to experience new things. Now here with Uranus squaring Saturn and this full moon, this is not a good time for traveling. Well, if you have to travel, then be prepared and perhaps leave early for the airport departure, because you might experience some unexpected situations happening out of the blue. Now on a different level here, Saturn and the moon conjunction, the moon rules your financial sphere. And here Mars will also trine Pluto in your 8th house on the 14th, and at this time it will, it will come in a close orb with this trine with Pluto. So you might be also dealing with some unexpected expenses at this time. So perhaps proceed with caution, and if you can, avoid traveling around this full moon, because you might experience some delays, things happening out of the blue. You might have to change plans, change your direction. to a certain extent. Obviously, if you are traveling already, then don't worry. Just be aware of these challenging energies and things perhaps taking a different turn. So be flexible and adaptable, because here you might need it on a different level. Here, Uranus will also square the Sun. The Sun rules your third house of siblings and short distance travel, and also news. Here the Sun is in your third house. You might also receive some unexpected news around this full moon. And well, when it comes to your relationship with your siblings, then also perhaps be mindful when communicating, when interacting, because there could be also some quite dynamic energies going on around this full moon. Now, since the full moon is also about the culmination, then you might be also completing a project related to higher education or perhaps some language studies. Now, if you begin a language course or a course, any course of some sort, then you are likely to take it very seriously. And you are likely to get through to the end, because here Aquarius is a fixed sign. It is at your 9th house cusp. So whatever you begin or whatever you kind of deal with around this full moon, even though it might take an extra effort and you might be dealing with increased responsibilities at this time or more tasks, you are likely to get through to the end with these studies, with these assignments, or language studies of some sort, or perhaps even legal matters. All right, so here, thank you very much, and I wish you a happy full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Cancers, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon activates your 8th house, so here the energies are deep and profound, and also transformative. Now, there is a very serious tone of this full moon since Saturn, the ruler of your 7th house of relationships and contracts, is retrograde and closely aligned with this full moon. Now here, with the full moon in the 8th house and Uranus squaring this full moon, this could be about some unexpected expenses that could arrive pretty suddenly out of the blue. Perhaps this could be a speeding ticket or fine, or perhaps a bill. So whatever it is, you might be dealing with some expenses, sudden and coming out of the blue. Now, on a different level, if you are currently resolving a business partnerships, or if you're going through any divorce or separation, this wouldn't be the right time for dealing with the financial sphere, because you might not you might not get the desired results, because here Saturn is retrograde conjunct this full moon in opposition to the Sun, and the Sun is the ruler of your income, finances. And here with Saturn restricting your financial sphere, you're not very lucky with your finances at this time. So it's not a good time for either investing your money or perhaps dealing with any important financial transactions. Better to move it or delay it a little bit later in the month. So here, on a different level, on a positive note, I would say, Jupiter is in your 10th house of career growth. So here, with Jupiter being here, you might still succeed moving on, and there could be opportunities for growth and development. So don't lose your hopes if you receive some negative news at this time, because here Jupiter is supporting you at all times, and it will be especially next year. Now, as with every full moon, this is also a time to let go, transform the area of life that lost its spark, go on a detox, purify your soul. So here with fixed energy, even though it might be difficult to take anything off the ground, because you might be you might have to put more effort at this time, because here Saturn might also delay some aspects of your life. However, if you want to move away from some unhealthy habits or routines, now during this time you might be able to do so. If you put more effort, if you are determined, you can get through to the end. This is fixed energy. All right, so on this note, I wish you a pleasant full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Thank you very much. Hello Leos, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon fully illuminates your 7th house, so here your relationships, any contracts that you have with other people, and also anything to do with one-to-one connections and business agreements. So here this full moon is closely aligned with Saturn retrograde. Here Saturn might bring delays to any contract agreements you might be signing around this time or you are about to sign. However, also at this time, you will be emotionally connected to your, most important people in your life. Perhaps your partner might need your help, might need your support because they might be going through some difficulties in their life. So they might need your help in a certain situation. Now, on a different level, this is a time when you might have to deal with some situations from the past as well. Saturn is retrograde. Now here Saturn will also oppose your sun, your ruler in your 1st house. So here oppositions are often about other people. And here this could be a situation when someone might criticize you. Someone might say something and that could lower your self-esteem, your self-image in some way. So here you will have to be, either assertive, extra assertive at this time, or find a way to find more happiness. And generally, if you do something that increases your sense of, satisfaction or content around this full moon, because the energies are pretty serious, pretty difficult at this time. So I think the best way to deal with this full moon is to have a plan and do something that will make you happy. Even if things are not going to go well, at least you will have something that will cheer you up. Because here with that opposition from Saturn, there could be a situation that happens with another person. This opposition activates your 1st and 7th house, and it might involve a person who might make you feel slightly limited on a different level. This could be related to your partner. He or she might need your help, or perhaps this could be also related to some changes in your relationships. Here Uranus in your 10th house will square this full moon and your sun. So perhaps some sudden unexpected changes at your work could also impact your personal life or your personal relationships. And perhaps this might also force you to make some changes. So here with Saturn prominent, it's really essential to take a step-by-step approach without rushing anything through, because here Uranus will square your sun. So you might be dealing with some situations that occur pretty quickly, suddenly, out of the blue. And these will force you to make adjustments in your personal life, in your career life, or in your personal relationships. So here your physical appearance is also influenced. You might have a need to change your hairstyle, change your clothing style, and generally do something different, break away from any restrictions, limitations as well. All right, so here we go. I wish you a happy or a pleasant full moon, and now let's move into the next sign. Thank you very much. Hello Virgos, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon will take place in your 6th house, so that's your work, your employment, your everyday life. Small pets as well are highlighted here at this time. So here a full moon is about a culmination to a certain event, or perhaps it could be a highlight as well, a highlight of major events at your work. Now you might be dealing with some deadlines. Someone might be pressuring you, or perhaps it could be a pressure from your manager. So whatever the scenario here, you might be completing a certain project at work. However, the pressure will be on, and there could be increased responsibilities as well, since Saturn is conjunct this full moon. However, with Uranus in your 9th house squaring this full moon, you might suddenly have to deal with some increased tasks, or perhaps you might have to fix something just before delivering the project. So there could be some unexpected situation, circumstances that emerge at your work. Now on a different level, if you are self-employed, This could be related to also a project or perhaps a computer breakage or an electronic device. That could also be the case. Uranus rules anything connected to media, internet. If you have your own business and you have your own clients, then perhaps your client might suddenly change their minds and either leave the project or perhaps change their demands. Now, on a different level, you might be also dealing with your diet. So you might be changing your diet and you might take it very seriously here. Saturn conjunct the moon. And here, well, it might take you some effort if you want to completely transform your diet, your routine. However, if you take anything off the ground at this time, you are likely to get through to the end. Now, a couple of days after this full moon, Mars will trine Pluto in your 5th house. So perhaps a couple of days or a week after this full moon, you might experience some pleasant moments, either with your romantic partner, someone that you're dating, or even with your children. And these moments are likely to create very good energies and a greater bond between you and them. All right, so here on this note, I wish you a pleasant full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Thank you very much. Hello Libras, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. And this full moon fully illuminates your 5th house. So at this time, you will be emotionally involved in the romantic sphere of your life, in your parenting style and the relationship you have with your children, but also anything to do with holidays, holiday rentals as well, your hobbies, your interests. Now we've got a very tight conjunction with Saturn retrograde. Here at this time, Saturn will be also in your 5th house, closely aligned with the moon. So here with Saturn, well, on one hand, you might slightly lack confidence in your abilities temporarily, and it might take you an extra effort to take anything off the ground, especially since Saturn is retrograde in your 5th house. So any new projects, any interest, you have to put more work if you want to take anything off the ground around this full moon. However, if you do, if you are determined, you will get through to the end. This is fixed energy. Now, with this conjunction with the moon, this is not the most romantic full moon, so this is not a good time for seeking romance or for having too high expectations from your children or for your romantic partner. This is a good time for being realistic. Now, at the same time, Saturn will be in opposition to the Sun, the ruler of your 11th house. Sun is in your 11th house as well. So this could be related to perhaps a friend who might be going through some difficulties and he might need some help or support from you, even if it is just a conversation. And so that could be also the case. Now, when it comes to your career, you might experience some delays at this time. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound too negative. However, we've got quite difficult energies happening. And here the moon rules your 10th house of career with this conjunction. Well, on one hand, this could be either some delays or perhaps you might have to also here again increase responsibilities, or perhaps you might have to work longer hours around this time. Here Saturn is conjunct the moon. So here, whatever it is, this full moon is about, well, being determined. This is about being cautious without rushing anything through, because here Uranus in the 9th house will square both the Sun and the Moon and Saturn. So you might be also dealing with some situations that happen out of your control pretty suddenly. And this could be related to your child. Perhaps your child might be going through some sudden changes and changes in their circumstances regarding their education, their school, for example. And you might have to be adaptable, flexible, and just take a step-by-step approach when making important decisions. So here, this is what I've got for you about this full moon. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Scorpios, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. And this full moon fully illuminates your 4th house. So at this time, your home and family foundation comes into focus. Now we've got the Sun in opposition to Saturn here as well. And the Sun rules your 10th house. So at this time, you might either experience some delays with Saturn being retrograde, or you might be dealing with something from the past. But on the other hand, someone might criticize you and lower your self-esteem. So don't get anyone discourage you or demotivate you. Here, these energies will only last for a couple of days. You've got a beautiful trine between Mars and Pluto coming up on the 14th of the month. And this trine will be pretty empowering. The reason for that is because Mars and Pluto are your both rulers. So this could be related to some really interesting contracts, agreements, some opportunities that come your way. Now, when it comes to this full moon, on the other hand, this is happening in your 4th house. So here, this is about a home-related situation. On one hand, with Uranus squaring the Sun and the Moon. So here the Moon with the 4th house activation. This could be about a situation that happens out of the blue, a sudden change of circumstances, perhaps as a result of any renovations that took place. Things might unfortunately not work out for you, and you might have to make a sudden decision regarding any unexpected situation that occurs in the last minute of some sort. So this could be a one case scenario. Now, on the other hand, this could be related, if you're not renovating, this could be related to, well, a rental. If you're renting a room or a house, then there could be some changes as well regarding your rental agreement, for instance. But on a different level, this could be also related to a family member who might need your help. They might be struggling and they might need your support, so you might have to help them in some way to get out of any troubles. Here, Uranus will also square the Sun. So this could be also related to some sudden changes, or, well, changes related to your career, or perhaps you might take a different direction as a result of, well, here again, some situations or change of your circumstances. So generally here, this full moon strongly influences your home life, your family life situation, but also your career, because here the Sun is squared by Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, unforeseen things happening suddenly, and also Saturn is opposing the Sun. And with oppositions, this is often related to another person. Now, as I said, the positive news is that Mars and Pluto will connect in a trine on the 14th, and this could be related to some positive news related to contracts, agreements, or generally some news. All right, so here we go. Thank you very much. I wish you a happy full moon, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Sagittarians, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. And this full moon activates your 3rd house. So here the 3rd house is connected to short distance travel, siblings, relatives, cousins, but also anything to do with any news, communication, rational thinking. So here all of that is emphasized at this time. We've got Saturn retrograde conjunct this full moon, and also Saturn is in opposition to the Sun, the ruler of your 9th house. So here the 3rd and the 9th house are very much activated at this time, because here the Sun is also triggered by both Saturn and Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house of work. So here at this time, well, you might be traveling. And this could be a travel connected to your work. So this could be a business trip. Now, if you have to travel, because this is not an ideal time for traveling, because, well, things might be happening, well, pretty out of the blue. There could be change of circumstances suddenly, and you might have to be more adaptable and more flexible. However, here we've got also Saturn in a very close proximity to this full moon. Saturn brings delays. So here, if you have to travel, make sure you leave early, you plan well, because you might have to kind of change your plan in the last minute. On a different level, Saturn retrograde might also make you have to deal with some matter, some paperwork from the past. Here, Saturn might also increase your responsibility, so you might be dealing with additional phone calls, additional documents, paperwork of some sort. If you are currently studying, then this could be also a time when you might have to deal with more assignments, more work. Now, here with Saturn and the Sun opposition, here long distance travel is also affected, and there could be delays and some limitations. Now, here, this is not the best time for seeking too much financial recognition, because Saturn is not only retrograde, but also conjunct this full moon. Saturn is the ruler of your second house. Now, here, if you want to take anything off the ground, any projects, well, if this is connected to any website design, if any marketing plan or any course connected to media, digital marketing or graphic design, you will have to put more effort at this time. And generally here with Saturn so prominent, well, determination will be very important. This is not a good time for jumping too quickly into any conclusions, into any ideas. You need to take a more of a step-by-step approach at this time. Now, with full moon, this could be also about some endings, conclusions. You might be completing some courses around this full moon as well. So generally the tone of this full moon is rather serious, is quite miserable as well. Well, for us collectively. Now, the positive news is that Mars and Pluto will connect in a trine a couple of days after this full moon. So from that moment in time, you might experience some growth at your work. Here, Mars is still in your 6th house of work. Pluto is in your 2nd house. So if you experience some, well, limitations or low self-esteem, the energies are going to improve from the 14th, even though we still have that Saturn and Sun opposition. But here with Mars and Pluto trine, there could be some interesting developments taking place as well at your work. All right, so here on this note, I wish you a pleasant full moon. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Capricorns, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon activates your 2nd house, so your income, your finances, resources, possessions are here influenced at this time. Now here with this full moon, we've got Saturn, your ruler here, retrograde, and Uranus. Uranus is going to square both the Sun and the Moon, and also it will trigger Saturn, your ruler. Now, this square between Saturn and Uranus will not be exact anymore, because it was exact 3 times last year. This year, these 2 planets will come they will be within an orb of an exact square, and the strongest influence will be between September and November. So here, during this time, you might experience a certain degree of perhaps a lower self-esteem, or a need, or a greater need to break away from the old, from anything that lost its spark and purpose, and implement some important changes in your life, find more meaning, find a greater purpose in your life. So this could be the theme of your life in the weeks and months to come. Now, on a different level, here with Saturn and the Moon in your 2nd house. So here your emotions and feelings are strongly connected to your financial sphere. Now, here we've got also an opposition to the Sun. And the Sun rules your 8th house. So it seems like that during this full moon, you might be dealing with some unexpected, unforeseen expenses. Uranus will square both the Sun and the Moon. So here you might have to make some payments that you didn't expect that they were coming. This could be related to your children. This could be related to some holidays as well. So perhaps if you were on holiday, there could be some unexpected additional costs, additional fees that you were unaware of. Or perhaps this could be related to your romantic partner or your child, or some activities connected to your children. Now, here, if you've been expecting some money to be deposited in your bank account, perhaps this money might be delayed here with Saturn being retrograde and conjunct this full moon. Now here with this full moon, this is about your resources, possessions. You might be also decluttering at this time, getting rid of your resources, possessions, objects that you don't need anymore. So this could be also the case. A full moon is about a clear out, about getting rid of whatever we don't need. It's about getting rid of negative energies. And here also with that square from Uranus, you might be quite, you might find it quite easy to make some decisions regarding, getting rid of things that perhaps you no longer need. So here, this is what I've got for you about this full moon. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Aquarians, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. This full moon activates your first house. So here with the first house, this is happening in your sign. This is a very important full moon of 2022 that will influence your life, your persona, your identity on a deeper level, regarding of whether you're watching this for your moon, for your sun, or for your ascendant. Most accurate for the ascendant. All right, so here we've got Saturn, your traditional ruler, retrograde, conjunct this full moon. So there is a very serious energy, a serious tone to this full moon. So now we've got your ruler, your modern ruler, Uranus, in the 4th house. So here we had that conjunction between Mars and Uranus and the North Node at the beginning of the month that could have brought changes on the home front. We had the eclipses. So this is a very busy year when it comes to your home and career sphere, especially the home sphere. Now Uranus will square this full moon and Saturn as well. So both your rulers will be in a square. So last year we experienced the exact square between Saturn and Uranus. And this year, these two planets will only come, they will be within an orb of a square, over the exact square, especially between September and November. So in a way, if you have been putting up with a certain situation, with a certain relationship or person in your life, now at this time, you might decide that enough is enough and something needs to change. You might rebel. You might want to change something, because whatever has been going on until now, whatever you've been accepting and dealing with, will no longer be the case. So here you might really want to change something, especially something that has been bothering you in your life. Now at the same time, there could be also some changes, perhaps a situation that might feel slightly limiting, slightly restricting at your work, or perhaps this could be related to your coworker, or this could be related to your everyday routine. And this might also influence you to implement some changes, make some adjustments to how your daily life is organized, for instance. Now on a different level, we've got so much happening here. We also have an opposition to the Sun. And here with oppositions, this is oftentimes about another person. Here the Sun rules your 7th house. So the 7th house is the first house of our partner. So if you are in a solid commitment at the moment, in a relationship, then perhaps your partner might need your support at this time, might need your help. They might be going through some difficulties, or they might feel slightly low. Their mood might be slightly low at this time. Now on a different level here, we also have Uranus activating your 4th house. So perhaps your parent or a family member might also need some help, some support throughout this full moon. But overall, this full moon is about you. It's happening in your sign. So you are moving away from something that outlived its purpose, lost its spark, something that you probably had enough of, and Well, this could be a kind of a rebirth in a way. A full moon is about getting rid of whatever we don't need, getting rid of negative energy. So there's also a strong focus on your physical appearance. You might want to change something in your physical appearance, and you might be readjusting your goals, but you will be very cautious at this time. You will be very practical, very realistic. It won't be about any dreamy and imaginative ideas. This will be a very practical. If you want to take anything off the ground, you will have to be determined, but you are likely to be pretty comfortable with that because you are a fixed sign and you can get through to the end with whatever that you start, even though it might require an extra effort. All right, this is what I've got for you about this full moon. Thank you very much, and let's move into the next sign. Hello Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for this coming full moon in Aquarius. And this full moon will illuminate your 12th house. So at this time, your mental health comes into a greater focus. At the same time, you are in a way completing a chapter in your life, a certain phase in your life. The 12th house is the house also of endings. And here you are completing a 12-month cycle with this full moon. So you might be dealing with some endings, things coming to conclusion, and you might be finishing some projects as well. Now here with Saturn retrograde in your 12th house and the moon, you might feel a greater need for withdrawal. You might feel drained, but at the same time, you might also attract people into your life who might want to share their problems, their dilemmas with you. And you might absorb their energies like a sponge. So you need to remember to set the boundaries and also recharge. Remember to recharge yourself, recharge your energies. Now here, your health is definitely also emphasized because you might feel slightly drained or overworked even. Because here Saturn will oppose the Sun, and the Sun is the ruler of your 6th house of work and everyday routine. So here with this opposition, this could be also related to someone, someone criticizing you or someone pressuring you or demanding too much from you at work, for instance. So here you will have to kind of remember to recharge your energies, look after your health, after your body. And don't worry, because these energies will pass. It's just a couple of days. So don't let anyone to crush you or put you down and disempower you. With Uranus prominent in your 3rd house of communication, you might receive some interesting news suddenly out of the blue. This could be done through text message or through social media or perhaps through email. So here some news might arrive for you as well around this time, but at the same time you might be also, you might also be working from behind the scene. There is a greater need for soul searching, understanding your life purpose, your life mission here with this full moon. But overall, here you will be also reviewing, reassessing some important aspects of your private life. So there could be things happening pretty kind of unexpectedly as well from behind the scene, in your private life at this time, because the 12th house is the hidden sphere. Now here, the 12th house is also the house of foreign places. And you might be also taking care of someone or visiting someone at a hospital or at an institution, for instance. Or perhaps you might have a need to volunteer or help others as well. All right, so here we go. We've got also Uranus squaring the Sun, so perhaps there could be a situation at work that could also force you to make an important decision moving forward or make some changes, implement some changes. However, here this full moon is about being practical, realistic, and generally proceed with caution at this time. But overall, I wish you a pleasant full moon and thank you very much. All right, so here we go. We reached the final sign for this forecast. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you a pleasant full moon, even though it will be a pretty serious full moon, but hopefully not too overwhelming. So thank you again, and until the next time. Bye for now.